Interesting visual presentation here brought to us once again by the Visual Capitalist, and this one is also through Sprott Asset Management. It's titled Why the World's Billionaire Investors Buy Precious Metals. So let's go through the presentation, see what it has to say. You ever wonder why some of the most elite investors hold precious metals, particularly gold, as a central part of their portfolios? Here are 4 famous money managers who made bets on precious metals for different reasons, and what we can learn from each of them. The first individual they take a look at here is the Lord Jacob Rothschild. Well, who is he? He's an investment banker and member of the prominent Rothschild banking family. Most of you most likely know about them and their history. His net worth, it says here, is $5 billion. We'll call him Jake because I don't call anybody Lord. So why does Jake own gold? Why does he choose it? Here for wealth preservation and store of value. Apparently they're linking some of these reasons why they own gold to previous statements and positions that these individuals hold. And it looks like Jake does it for wealth preservation and store of value. Rothschild, or Jake, recently said that central bankers are continuing the, quote, greatest experiment in monetary policy in the history of the world, unquote, and that investors should focus on preserving wealth. Sounds like Jake's been tuning in to the Junius Maltby channel. Maybe he's one of the subscribers out there. We don't know. Jake, if you're out there listening, welcome to the Junius Maltby channel. Glad to have you here. Jake also was quoted as saying, quote, we are therefore in uncharted waters, and it is impossible to predict the unintended consequences of very low interest rates, with some 30% of global government debt at negative yields combined with quantitative easing on a massive scale, unquote. That is again a quote from Jake Rothschild, a letter to shareholders of the Rothschild Investment Trust in 2016, so just last year. The move in a 2016 shareholder update, Jake outlined bold changes to the RIT Capital Partners portfolio, including reduced exposure to stocks and the sterling, and increased exposure to gold and precious metals to 8%. Did you know that the Rothschild family even once bailed out the United States government in 1895 alongside financier J.P. Morgan to save the government from a run on gold? Very interesting history if you look back at the influence and wealth of these names mentioned here and the stranglehold they've had on United States finance dating back almost to the beginning. Moving on to number 2, we've got David Einhorn. We'll just call him Dave for short. How you doing, Dave? Well, who is he? He's the founder of Greenlight Capital, a hedge fund known for shorting Lehman prior to its collapse in 2008. His net worth, stated here, is $1.53 billion US. Well, what's Dave's reason for owning gold? Looks like his number 1 is inflation hedge. He's quoted as saying, we believe the increasingly adventurous monetary policy is bullish for gold, unquote. And that's a quote from Dave Einhorn from Greenlight Capital. And that's a very fancy way of saying that the money managers and the policy setters, the Fed, in other words, are a bunch of clowns, circus monkeys, and they don't know what they're doing. That's the word, increasingly adventurous monetary policy. That's his term for that. Dave's also quoted as saying, quote, the Trump administration comes with a high degree of uncertainty, and its policy initiatives appear to be focused on stimulating growth and with it, inflation. Over on the right side you read, did you know Greenlight Capital has served up average annualized returns of 20% to its investors since its creation in 1996? The fund has only experienced 2 down years in its 20-year history. Sounds a lot like the performance levels of the fund that Bernie Madoff ran for quite some time. Well, his move in early 2017, Dave mentioned on earnings call that he was adding several shorts in sovereign fixed income, keeping gold as a top position, and adding to long equity exposure. Ray Dalio, not really a way to shorten that, we'll just call him Ray, or we'll call him Ray Ray. Give him a little affectionate term of endearment. Well, who is Ray Ray? Founder of the world's largest hedge fund, Bridgewater Associates. Net worth $16.8 billion US. So why does Ray Ray, a guy worth $16.8 billion who's in charge of the largest hedge fund, choose gold? Looks like for its store of value and for portfolio diversification. Ray Ray was quoted as saying, quote, "We have a situation now where when you have too much debt leads to printing of money to make it easier to service. So all of those things mean that some portion of an investment portfolio should be in gold," unquote. Again, that's a quote from Ray Ray of Bridgewater Associates. What was Ray Ray's move? In 2016, Ray Ray said it was prudent to have a, quote, "well-diversified portfolio," unquote, that is 5 to 10% gold. So again, he wants a well-diversified portfolio, 5 to 10% of it being gold. And did you know that Ray Ray is famously equipped as saying, quote, "If you don't own gold, you know neither history nor economics." Well, this guy just went up a notch in my book, and I like him a little bit more. Number 4 on our list of billionaires here is Stanley Druckenmiller. Who is he? The former chairman and president of Duquesne Capital, which he founded in 1981. We'll call him Stan for short. Stan's net worth $4.7 billion. Well, why does Stan choose gold? Future upside, so he believes it's going to rise, it's going to go up in value, and its terms in dollars. And fundamentals, it's a pretty broad term. He's quoted as saying, "Soros has taught me that when you have tremendous conviction on a trade, you have to go for the jugular," unquote. And that's a quote from Stan, and I'm guessing he's referring to perhaps gold with that statement. Stan's also quoted as saying, "I have always made big, concentrated investments. I don't believe in diversification. I don't believe that's the way to make money," unquote. From Stan. Stan's move: since no country wants its currency to strengthen, it made sense for Druckenmiller to buy gold in early 2017. He's quoted as saying, "Gold was down a lot, so I bought it," unquote. And did you know, for a 25-year period from 1986 through 2010, Stan achieved an annualized rate of return of 30%. Druckenmiller was also a portfolio manager for George Soros' Quantum Fund. Between these two roles, Stan is widely regarded as one of the best investors of all time. So there you can see 4 of the world's wealthy billionaire hedge fund managers looking at gold in a positive way. So whether you're working with billions of dollars or just thousands of dollars, precious metals such as gold can benefit portfolios in the same way. When you look at it here, the reasons for wealth preservation, store of value, portfolio diversification, fundamentals, potential future upside, a hedge against inflation. And I would argue, among many other attributes, gold makes an incredible safe place to park wealth, to preserve wealth, and to secure your dynasty for the future. Scarce, very rare, with a slow-growing supply, easily recognized worldwide, and a history of over 7,000 years of use by humans as a monetary unit of exchange, gold is still relevant and in no way going to be replaced anytime soon.